Welcome back to the channel. If you are here, you are interested in weekly paying dividend ETFs, and I cannot blame you. So this is the new series that I'm doing. This is the second video on these ETFs that are now paying weekly. Some have been since the inception. Some are newer and they've shifted to weekly paying dividend ETFs. But I purchased them all in this account. We'll go over the details in just a second here. But first things first, I have to say, if you are interested in high yielding investing, in dividends, in stocks, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a ton. And like this video if you want to see more just like this. We're almost to 3,000 subscribers, which is amazing. I can't even believe it. You guys are great, and I love the comments, and you guys have been so supportive, and I really just appreciate that. So I wanted to make that known. And so we're going to jump right into the data here. Again, don't forget to comment what you think down below and which one of these is your favorite. I'm curious to see what the investing community thinks of these ETFs, thinks of weekly dividends, and thinks of the differences between YieldMax and Roundhill and Defiance. So again, don't forget to like the video, and let's jump right into the details. So the best way to do this using Moomoo, which if you're interested, click the link down below to start your own Moomoo account. If you fund it with $100, you get some bonuses. It helps me, helps the channel. But with Moomoo, the problem is Moomoo does have fractional shares, which is really important for something like this, but they don't have it on these types of ETFs, unfortunately. So what I had to do, we can see I've purchased either 2 or 3, some of them 5, depending on the prices, to get it to as close to $100 as I could. And so this isn't going to mess anything up. It's just a little bit more work for me because I'm going to have to give us all of the percentages instead of just the full market value that has changed. But that being said, we'll still see the percentages of what's gone up, what's gone down, and be able to track the distributions. And now that moves us into the next portion where our distributions. I'm not going to be turning on drip. And if you guys really disagree with that, let me know in the comments and I will turn it on. But I've had a lot of comments saying, you know, I don't think drip is the way to go with these. You want a lot of money in, you want to get a lot of money from the distributions and then pull out your initial investment and make more than you initially invested. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to see how much a full account of these will make me with drip not turned on. And what I might actually end up doing is buying SCHD or buying a different fund with all of the distributions to see how quickly you can build up a portfolio just based off of how much money these are paying out. So if you disagree with either of those, let me know. But first, let's go over the ETFs that we're going to be trading. So we have YieldMax, which is a Defiance fund. We have QDTE, which is our Roundhill fund, probably the most popular. It has the biggest net asset value of any of these. And I think the longest trading history for the weekly payments. We have QQQY, another Defiance fund. We have RDTE, the newest fund. I have a video about that specifically. If you're interested, you can check that one out. That's the newest one, and there's been a ton of hype around it. We have WDTE, which is Defiance, not Roundhill. They have the same kind of ticker as the Roundhill ones, but that is a Defiance one, and that one was JEPY, now converted to WDTE. And then we have XDTE, a Roundhill ETF, probably one of the better Roundhill ones, in my opinion. I mean, XDTE versus QDTE has been an ongoing thing. XDTE has a smaller net asset value, but I think a better return, but a lower yield. So it really just depends on what you're looking for. And then we have our 2 YieldMax funds, which we have YMAG, the Magnificent 7, which is phenomenal, one of my favorites, to be honest. And I'm not a huge fan of the YieldMax funds. And we have YMAX, which is their basically a clumping of all the other YieldMax funds together that has been performing pretty well as well. And so all the initial 3, QDTE, RDTE, and XDTE, were always weekly payers. YMAG and YMAX recently shifted, and WDTE, QQQY, and YieldMax all recently switched, but we didn't get all the dividends from them this first week, which I'm interested, and I might have just purchased them a little bit late, but all the other ones did pay. So we had 5 dividends paid out, 5 distributions instead of the 8. So this next week we should have 8. I haven't fully checked if the Defiance funds are already paying out weekly, but I know that the YieldMax ones are, and obviously all of the Roundhill ones are. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go over the current price and cost for each of them and how close I got to the actual market value, which I think is super important. Starting off with YieldMax, the current price is just under $35. I have it at an average cost of what? 17 cents below, 18 cents below what I purchased it for. So I'm up 0.5%. No complaints so far. Again, no dividends from this one yet. And then I'm going to skip around here a little bit. I want to hit all the Defiance ones. So then we have the Defiance, which again, no dividend yet from this one either, but it's up 0.3% with my current price, the current price being $34.47 and my purchase price being $34.37. So again, 10-cent gain on that one so far, no complaints. And then lastly, WDTE, which is actually down 0.04%, down under 2 cents. So no big deal with that one, but no dividends from those, which is why I wanted to get them out of the way first. I have not been following the Defiance funds for nearly as long as the other stocks, other ETFs here. I've been following the Round Hill ones since they first started getting popular. And YMAG and YieldMax, I've been following them for a long time, but they weren't paying weekly, so I didn't pay that much attention to them. So how close I got with each of these. So with IWMY, I have 3 shares, market value of $104.37, which is one of our highest, our highest with its gain. So I'm not bummed about that. I do wish we could have gotten it to the exact 100, but it's just not possible with Moomoo with these ETFs. Our next Defiance QQQY, a little over 100 as well, $103.41. And so I'm really curious to see the NAV erosion. If we do see NAV erosion, if we see them paying out high distributions and not being able to maintain their capital, I really want to see how these are going to perform. And that is the point of this whole test. And lastly, we have WDTE, where I bought 2 shares because it's a little bit more expensive at $42. And that left us at $84.32 in market value. Again, none of these are down terribly. RDTE dropped a little bit. YMAG being the heaviest faller this week, down 1.20%, which I'm not too worried about. But still, so we can see YMAG, our purchase price is, our average cost is above the current price. The current price is $18.93 a share, and my buy price was $19.16 a share, down 1.2%. Not great, but YMAG is probably still my favorite. And then we have YieldMax with a current price of $17.52 and an average cost basis of $17.57. So we've lost 5 cents per share, so 25 cents down. Not bad. Not bad either. And again, because it's been 1 week, we're going to give this a lot of time. We want these to mature. We want them to grow in popularity as they're shifting to the weeklies. And we want those distributions to continue to pay out, which we'll get to the distributions in just 1 second. We can see that YMAG ended up, I bought 5 shares, which put us at $94.65. And YieldMax was a tough one. I didn't want to go over, and this one would have gone way over. So I bought 5 shares at $17.57, and it ended up being $87.60. I debated putting this back onto Robinhood instead, but because Moomoo has all these promotional things going right now, and I already have a Robinhood account that tracks all of my higher yielding dividend accounts, I didn't want to combine the two. I didn't want to mess any of that up. So we're leaving it on Moomoo. Besides the fractional shares issue, this brokerage is really, really cool, and I am impressed by what they've been doing. So now to the Round Hill funds. Round Hill, I bought 2 shares of QDTE at a price of $42.33, which is down now. We're down 0.38%. The current price is $42.17, and these all paid a distribution already. So even though QDTE, RDTE, and XDTE are in the red, I believe with the distribution they would be positive. And we can see that RDTE average cost $44.17, and the current price is $43.96, down about 0.5%. And XDTE, purchase price of $52.31 and a current price of $52.09, down 0.42%. But again, these ones all paid some pretty heavy dividends, which is why we've seen a bit of a drop. Now looking at the prices of these, a lot of them trend. Moomoo does have this cool thing where you can actually turn on like trend projection, which again, I don't recommend using this, but some of the trends, it is cool to see the difference, and it'll show you all of this stuff. But IWMY, definitely not bad. For the last couple of days, we've seen a bit of a pullback. I'm going to go to the watch list, and we can actually just check into all the prices of all of these using the line chart. Starting off with WDTE, the Defiance S&P 500, I'm going to just go over the price appreciation, what they did the last couple of days, and talk about their dividend yield that they have according to Moomoo. Now, I've done a full video on some of these before, and we also know that my last couple of videos, I talked about all the dividends, so I'll point them out with each fund for those of you that are new, but I'm not going to dive too far into it because I already have looked at all of this stuff in other videos, and I don't want to bore people that are returning to just check in and see how the challenge is going. So dividend yield of 54.41% for WDTE. We can see that since October 3, last couple of days, I did buy it on the 2nd. And since then, it has traded relatively sideways, a little bit down from our buy point, but not too bad. We saw a jump and then a sell off ever so slightly. These ones, they can be really volatile, but look at this long-term 1-month chart. I mean, this thing went from $4 all the way up to where it is now, 42, which again, isn't an insane amount, but it is nice seeing these ones continue to move upward. Defiance QQQY, an insane dividend yield of about 87%, and a very similar chart. We've seen this thing go from $32 all the way up to where it sits now at 34 with a high of, didn't really quite reach 35, but reached the high 34s. And since our buy, we're sitting at just up again, which I am happy about. Now, let's see what exactly, yeah, so our average cost was 34.36, and currently it's 34.37, so not much of a change since then. But once the distributions start kicking out for these, and I'll go through all of our distributions in a second that did pay out, but still, I'm happy with the price appreciation for just 1 week. The goal with this challenge is to just see how these perform. It's to see exactly, are they worth holding? Are they worth all the hype? Are they worth getting the weekly distributions compared to the NAV erosion? If we do see NAV erosion, are we going to see price appreciation depending on what the market does? So many factors go into this. And yes, I could have just done a paper trading account and put 10,000 into each of these, but this makes it a little more fun for me. Gives me more skin in the game. Makes me a little bit nervous sometimes, but still I want to be very transparent with all of you guys about this and about how these actually perform. Because if they're not performing well, I'm not going to own them, and I'm not going to do a bunch of videos saying how great they are if I don't think that they are great. Now we can see IWMY, 100% distribution rate, even a little bit down from my last video because the price was up. So again, bought 3 shares at $34.60. Currently it's $34.59. Not a lot of change on this one, but can't complain. This one too spiked pretty rapidly over the last month. Started at $33, went all the way up to $35, and then has seen some downtrend since. A lot of this might have to do with the hype of them going weekly and whatnot, but I'm interested in seeing that for the long term. We already did QQQY. Over to YieldMax. So again, I mean, on the 1-month chart, YieldMax started at $16 and ended, now it's at $17.52. Not a bad return. Our purchase price was below $17.57. Currently it's $17.52. And YieldMax isn't my favorite. Like I said, YieldMax is my favorite. You can see a lot of the data on this. You can see news and comments on Moomoo, but really this one, I just like how the chart does look. And for those of you that called out, oh, do line charts instead of the candlesticks, I agree. The line charts look a lot cleaner and it's actually easier to see the data. Then we can go to YieldMax. This one was down a bit from our buy price, $19.15, and we're currently at $18.92. And so I don't know what this little arrow is. But again, so we can actually pull up the trend projection, and this is not for sure. It's actually really just speculative, but they're expecting a max increase of 15%, a max decline of 7.3%, similarity of 88% to another mining, not another mining, but a different fund, which I think is very, very interesting. I think that's cool. So you can actually see different funds, see things that are trending the same way. But again, I would not bet money on how that's gonna go. And so we can actually start to see the dividends from these ones, from YieldMax, from YieldMax. We did see one on October 1 from QQQY, from all of these weekly payers, but I'm not sure when the next one is going to be coming. It should be relatively soon. When it comes to YieldMax, we can see they paid us a dividend of 20 cents, round up about 21 cents. Not bad at all. Decent return. So YieldMax, even though we are down 45.45% with that dividend, that would definitely make a big difference. And then we can see YieldMax. I don't know where that line came from. I don't know if I just did that. I definitely need to work out the quirks with Moomoo and understand this one a little bit better. But there's a lot to learn with this. It reminds me of it reminds me of Webull a lot, but probably a bit better. We can see October 3 paid out a dividend of 16 cents. 16.4 cents actually. Definitely not bad. Not enough to recoup our loss that we bought that we got with YieldMax so far, but definitely something to note. Now we're getting into the big ones: RDTE, QDTE. So this is QDTE, probably everyone's favorite, and we can see that they are up from. They're not up from when we bought them, but 42.39, but it's actually 42.13. So it's very interesting how this plays out. I'm curious with the details on why the chart looks like that, why this is actually a little bit lower. Maybe it'll jump, but still down 1.03%. I wonder if that's the day change or if that's percent change. Interesting. But yeah, so a dividend of 21.7 cents per share. No complaints. I just love that these are coming in weekly and hopefully maintaining. Let's see. QDTE, again, same kind of chart. These ones have just been trending up. XDTE. RDTE is a bit newer, so it hasn't had as much time and it didn't trend up as much. But QDTE starting last month 39.20 and now at 42.120. So a little bit of a pullback is expected when we've seen these run like this. Next, XDTE, probably the favorite, I would say. At least of the Roundhill funds. People seem to like XDTE more than QDTE. I forget. Someone put out a video on it stating the differences, and XDTE was technically outperforming. But we can see so far XDTE starting out on the 1 month chart at $96.60, all the way up to $52.12. So really some good price return, not even including the dividend. The dividend was 22, almost 23 cents per share, even more than QDTE, which is weird because QDTE has a higher distribution rate. So QDTE's dividends should be higher. If XDTE keeps paying out these higher yields, then it will surpass QDTE's distribution rate. So XDTE may become the better one for price appreciation and distribution rate, but I don't know. Now, my last video was on Roundhill, and my calculation put their distribution rate at about 44%, which is really, really strong. The dividend yield on Moomoo isn't going to be accurate. They've only paid 2 dividends so far. With a starting price of $41.30, it's all the way up now to $43.80. We have seen some good price appreciation with RDTE. I think I'm up in my normal account about 5%, and I am reinvesting the dividends on that one. I might shift that, but their first dividend was 36 cents and their second was 38 cents, almost 39. So RDTE is paying out a really good distribution rate, and it has seen some really good price appreciation so far. It is a little bit higher. The reason people believe that it will outperform is because of the fact that the Russell 2000, the index that it's writing covered calls on, is due to its higher volatility. And even if you have less price appreciation, higher volatility is going to increase your premiums on the options, making you more money, more payouts every single week. With volatility, you have greater risk, and you should always know that and do your own research. This is not financial advice. Just because I bought these doesn't mean you should. But I really am curious, and this whole part of the process is to see exactly what I should be doing. So again, if you want to open a Moomoo account, it helps out the channel a lot. I put $800 into my own money into this account, and I really enjoy doing that. So I appreciate you guys for watching the videos. That helps me as well. Helps me with some money on AdSense. It's nothing crazy, but again, I really do appreciate it. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. Share this video if you know someone that might want to follow this channel and see the updates. I will be doing weekly updates for this if I can keep up with it. I will keep trying. I'll start getting the dividends listed out, and we can go over a few more of the factors. We can actually see on the notifications from Moomoo, you can see all of the different messages, and they'll actually tell you on here. I think it's the alerts, and you can see all the dividends. So yeah, so we can actually see the dividends. That's deposits. We see QDTEs, RDTEs, XDTEs, YMAG, and YMAX. So I have not gotten anything from the Defiance funds yet, but I am expecting them soon. Hopefully soon. They probably have something on the website about that if you want to know more. You can check out all the different websites for Defiance, YieldMax, and Roundhill. They have some great websites that are very informative for anyone that is interested. But until next week, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you there.